I have non-binary people in my life that I love. Inversely, I have met people that are non-binary, trans, gender fluid, cross-dresser. They want all the labels.
That's right.
Because they're playing Pokemon. Got to catch them all.
Yeah.
And they are the meanest, angriest, vile, just... Oh, yes. I'm like, why are you so full of hate? Yeah. Literally. Oh my God. Like, yeah. And then and they get mad at me. And they call me transphobic and all this stuff. And I'm like, I try to stand up for binary trans women. And they're like, there's no such thing as gender. There's no such thing as binary. I'm like,
hey everybody. Oh my gosh, I caught myself another one. I'm so excited. I love saying that. So anyway, here I am. Remember, before we move forward, always the like, subscribe, all that, whatever the heck's going on there kind of thing. Because I do see my channel rising, and I do see all the beautiful, amazing comments. And thank you for appreciating all of the people I bring on, because they give us their time, and they give us really a lot of knowledge that I think isn't being sort of put out there. I like to say I bring the voices of the voiceless of the trans community. So that being said, this afternoon I have a beautiful, amazing human. Her name is Tori, and like I always do, I'm going to hand it over to you, my friend, and please let us know a little bit about yourself.
Yeah. Hi, my name's Tori. I am like I mentioned earlier, I guess, approaching 30. Transsexual woman hailing from the Midwest in the United States. Fargo, North Dakota is where I currently am. Originally from Minnesota. Born and raised in Minnesota. I had taught for 6 years, and now I work at Starbucks. I taught kindergarten through 5th grade, elementary. Well, I did. And I did 4 of those 6 years. I had transitioned. 2 of those years I hadn't. So we can get into that later.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally. But I've only been transitioning for about almost coming up to 4 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
But you're young, but you look incredible.
Thank
Seriously.
you.
I mean, it fits you. It's, some of the people that I see that just transition, so obviously just so was you. I mean, I just feel that. It's just, it looks so natural and so like everything, your energy, everything is just so great. And maybe that's also from working with kids.
There's that as well. I love my kiddos that I had.
That's so sweet. So you taught what grades again? K through 8?
Kindergarten through 5th.
Through fifth. Oh, yeah. Wow. That's definitely, well, those kids right there are, well, let's get into that. So that being said, so you transitioned 4 years ago when you were teaching, you weren't, part of it, you weren't transitioned.
Correct. The first 2 years. So right out of college, the first 2 years that I was teaching, I hadn't transitioned yet. So.
Wow. Okay. So tell me about that a little. Yeah. I'd love to know a little bit more. So when you decided to start transitioning, and clearly you transitioned in front of kids and parents in North Dakota?
In North Dakota.
Wow. Okay. So tell us, I'm sure we all are wanting to know a little bit about that.
Right. It's kind of crazy. You like out of all the places to do it. Yeah. Let's do it in North Dakota. Nobody really knows much about it.
Right.
Including me. I only came here for college, so.
Wow.
So when I started transitioning, it was actually like during COVID. So like it provided the perfect opportunity to slowly transition. And when we were teaching, we didn't have school. Well, here we didn't have school. It shut down. I don't know if it was everywhere else, but we taught online, and there was a time where I was able to just like put lessons out without showing myself.
Yeah.
And I
Right.
had started hormones a year prior, just kind of living undercover.
Okay.
I was also somewhat married before
Okay.
to a woman
Okay.
at
Okay.
that time.
Excellent.
My story is very interesting.
Yeah.
So I had started transitioning in stealth, I guess, but not the way that you think. You know, when you start transitioning, you should probably live as that sex. But I was not for a whole year because I just felt really uncomfortable and my body was changing, and it was a really awkward time. I'm sure everybody that's been through that understands that. But it provided me the opportunity to really just slowly come out to the kids. And we slowly got back into classes, and I didn't see them all at once. I saw them in like groups at a time. And so I slowly reintroduced myself. Like, I'm not Mr. H anymore. I'm Miss H. And that's literally all I said. All I said. I didn't say, hi, I'm transgender. I said, you knew me as Mr. H, and now I would like to be called Miss H. And I obviously didn't look like I do now because it was still down the road or back a while, but I slowly have changed. And the questions range from, when are you going to go back to being a boy? You don't look like a girl, that was the cutest thing ever. It's like, you don't look like a girl. I'm like, thanks. I'm really trying with you. I'll give you a little hug. But it got better as time went on. But really, I mean, think about it. Fargo, North Dakota, you would think there'd be like tons of pushback from parents and kids, and there really wasn't any. Because I kind of ran my classroom by a little poster that I had on the wall, which said, be who you are and love who you are, because who you are is something special. And that was it. Like, I didn't get into it. If kids asked more questions, I said, I can't, that is a question that you need to talk to your parents about. That is not for me to say anything. I am here to do my job and to love you and to give you that support. That is my job. And they would, they asked invasive questions, and I'm like, nope, we're not gonna ask that. And it's easy as saying no.
Yep.
Because you don't, it's not important. Does it affect your education? No.
Right on.
So I just kind of went from there and was employed. I'm not out of it because I got kicked out. I just chose a better paying job.
So I see what you're saying. So when you transition, parents and people didn't push back on you. They were actually,
thankfully.
Wow, I think that's amazing to hear that.
I
For many
did
reasons.
I did say one thing I got from my principal at the beginning is she said, do you want to just go to a different school? And I'm like, I mean, I get it. Like, I understand the sentiment, but I've built a relationship with these kids, and I don't want to leave them, And that's really all there was to that. And so I stayed.
But that makes you a very caring teacher, which to me, that means everything. I don't feel like you have an agenda to the kids.
Exactly.
That this is your personal transition, your personal space that you're not putting on top of the kids, which is what makes you an amazing teacher and also an amazing transsexual person, because you don't have an agenda to this is your personal journey. It's nothing to do with trying to tell others that you can do this too.
Yeah. No, the craziest thing that I say is I just have that on the wall, like, be who you are and love who you are. And they're like, what does that mean? That's not for me to say. Just be you. Be a kid. Be a kid. Live your life as a kid, however that is. And that's between you and your parents, not me.
Brilliant.
I'm going to do my job while I'm here.
No, that's what you are actually what a teacher is. That's it. You have no agenda. You're here to help the kids move forward in the world. I mean, of course, kids are going to ask all these questions. You don't look like a girl.
Right.
Kids are. I have a 10-year-old. I'm a dad. I get it. Like kids aren't. There's no filter.
No
right?
filter.
Yeah, no filter. Kids don't have filters. They're just like, what? You're not a
They
dog.
will read you up and down and all around, like literally. And I'm like, great. I need it.
It's so good. I love kids. That's why I love kids, because you can't lie to them. They know what's going on.
They know. And I'm like, all right. I mean, I guess I tried my best with makeup today, but I guess not. Right?
I just think it's so great, man. It's like, nope, you're still not a lady yet. Don't try to kid us. So it's such a great story. I think that the reason they asked you maybe to go, if you wanted to go to another school, was actually very, I think, compassionate to you. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't feel
start
like
clean.
That's right. That's how I'm looking at it. Some trans people would look at it like, you're being transphobic, but no, it doesn't feel like that to me. It doesn't feel like that to you, right?
No. I the way it came off was like, you just want to start somewhere fresh, and I'm like, I get it. And then it's funny that you say that, Buck, because I've literally had people tell me that, and they're like, oh, that's so transphobic of them. I'm like, was it? I didn't take it that way.
You see how easy it is to get into the frame of mind? Well, because we're teaching this new generation of trans people to be so victim-y that anytime anyone says anything, they lose it, because it's a narcissistic movement on some level, and everything is about them, right? Like, well, maybe look at the other person and try to see where they're coming from, and why does everything have to be so transphobic, right?
Yeah.
It's
and
weird.
why do we have to champion our kids to be that, that agenda? Like, why do we have to put the kids in that position? Like, just literally let them live their life.
It is, I'm so happy to have you here today, because as you know, I'm a person who pushes back on the medicalization of children. Now, I will tell you that I do think there might be a kid here and there that could possibly benefit and for early transition, but that's a kid of 15, 16 maybe, something like that. I'm not pretty cool with a 10-year-old being medicalized. I'm not.
No, I get that. I agree. I mean, I've watched you and Blair talk about this, and I'm just like, yes, literally yes.
Thank you. No,
as someone who's worked with kids, I'm like, yes, thank you.
So you're a teacher, you're a trans woman, you get to have conversation in this as a person who is in our space. So I'm assuming you also on some level disagree with this situation.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, and I do. I wouldn't say like fully, because I feel like we all would have loved to start earlier. It's kind of like that whole thing, and I don't want to like bar. It's so hard because I'm trying to like say my words that would make sense.
Well, just say it.
People that are actually trans.
Yeah, that's right. No, you're not saying anything that doesn't resonate with me.
People that are actually trans and not just transgender. Okay.
That's right. That's right.
That's how I feel. And I'm just like, I don't understand the whole thing about you don't need dysphoria. Then why transition? If you don't have dysphoria, why are you?
That's right.
I don't get it. So I agree with that. And sorry, we're getting into like other things as well. But
no, that's a conversation.
That's how my mind works.
Mine too. I'm a guy who skips all over the place too. But because that's it. Because me and you are in alignment there. Like, of course, some kids might have dysphoria, but we need to make this a safer, slower situation going on here. Number two, you cannot be trans without dysphoria. Period.
I don't get how people are saying that. Because like, what is the driving force behind it then?
There you go.
If you're not comfortable in your body, you transition. So
Yeah, great question. I would love somebody to answer that question. So now they're making up all these words about euphoria and that you don't need anyone knows they're trans, blah, blah, blah. So I'm going to say this to you. I feel on some level that trans has become an identity choice. It is not like you and I who are have a medical condition, right? I don't know how you feel about the disorder. I feel like I have a disorder.
Sure. No,
That's
I agree. I mean, that's the reason I was able to start medically transitioning here is because of the DSM-5.
That's right.
Like, I'm thankful for that, so I can lessen the dysphoria through the surgeries and that I've had and medical intervention that I've had. Like, I don't know why. Like, we have to have a conversation about having to validate that. Like,
I mean, I think we're both laughing so our heads don't explode, because
yeah, it's kind of like
it's
what?
literally like any other disorder or thing. So you're telling me that anyone can diagnose themselves with cancer or with, whatever else, a disorder. You need to go through a system to be diagnosed for a reason. Then it
Right.
helps you to figure
And
out
then-
what's wrong. Yeah.
Yeah, and like, I mean, you're an icon, you're a legend. You've been doing around this whole world for. You're welcome. For a while, like you transitioned in a different time. Like you're sitting here talking with me, a trans woman in her 20s. I'm still gonna say it. Who is very blessed to be able to get the surgeries that I needed, in a non-dangerous, societally seen as okay way. Like I work at Starbucks. I got everything through Starbucks, through insurance. Like
Wow.
everything. Very thankful for that. Very, very thankful for that. But like that wasn't what it was. So people can make that argument, like, you're just saying that because you get all this stuff, and it's like, well, but I consider, I don't consider myself, I am a transsexual. I have gender dysphoria. Like that is what's driving this whole force. Like my parents, who are super, super conservative and really strong Christians, they were wondering what my problem was when I was growing up. Like, you don't talk to anyone, you don't have like many friends or any of this stuff. You seem so miserable. but I, on the outside, I acted like everything was okay. I was just trying to play a role everyone wanted for me. But then once I transitioned, and granted they weren't that cool with it first, obviously, but they're like, the confidence you have now and how happy you are, we've never seen that. And I'm like, yeah, literally, it's a testament to how gender dysphoria can be not cured, but like lessened, and what can happen, how someone can thrive when the gender dysphoria is lessened. And again, what's the point otherwise? What's the driving force?
No, I love that you say what's the driving force. That is actually very profound on so many levels, because what is the driving force of this younger generation? Now, I want to say that is a beautiful story, and especially because your parents are very conservative Christians that don't, but that's all people need to see. The whole point to transition is to actually be happy and to finally be able to fit back in the world.
Just
but
live
I
our
don't
lives.
on some level, yes. And I don't see that with this new trans movement. I see a bunch of angry, disconnected people who
Chronically
are
online.
Chronically online, not in any way engaging with the world. Well, the whole point to transition is so that you can go back into the world and participate and coexist and be that. I don't think they want to do that. And I think that's why I see a different way of being, and why I reclaimed transsexual, which is probably the reason why you did it. And many of us are starting to do that. That's right.
Yeah, I love that. I saw you mention that, and I'm like, I am going to be calling myself that. I told everybody
because you are a transsexual.
Exactly.
You are.
I
You're
told
an
everybody
actual
at my work at
transsexual.
Starbucks, I said, don't call me transgender.
Me too. I get actually insulted. I don't know. I just say no. Those are two different spaces. I'm not non-binary, trans mask, whatever else is going on over there. That those are people who choosing to do that. That's the difference.
thing.
I think that's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
It makes
So
sense.
that's so amazing. I mean, my gosh, I just love talking to people like you, because you're just a sensible human, and we don't have to lie to people about who we are.
No.
We don't have to do that. We've never, I mean, we've had to do it before. But in my lifetime as a trans person, hadn't had, that's 30 plus years. I haven't had to lie about myself. And so all these lies that are coming out of the community are hurting us.
Very. Yeah. Yeah.
It's frustrating. Like,
all the legislation that is on it. I get it because it's gotten out of control to a point where it's just kind of, it's detrimental. It is just so detrimental now. And it's like, I'm trying to find the words.
Well, no, it's hard for,
so
I'm the same with you. So I do feel like a lot of this new anti-trans legislation, which to me on some level isn't necessarily anti-trans, it's slowing down the process of pushing children through. You know, these are all laws for children. They're not laws for adults. And
well, I'm afraid they're not gonna stop there though.
It is. That's what I always said. I said, you think they're just going to stop at kids? Now they're going to come after us.
No, yeah. I literally told my friend that. I said, this is what they're starting. They're going to twist it as a women's rights issue and bring back what womanhood is and protect our kids. That's what they're going to bill it as. And then they're going to come for us.
That's right.
And I'm like,
that's right.
Why? And we're sitting here like, yeah, this is okay. No. We're sitting here getting mad about a Harry Potter game.
Oh, my God. You see, though? That's why I know it's not real. I fought for trans rights for 30 years. I've traveled the world fighting for trans rights. I have been part of this situation. And, boy, you just said it when you said Starbucks paid for your surgery. We fought to get to that space. So that is the most amazing thing. That's all I ever wanted to see. I don't want to see people struggle like me having to find the money to have my top surgery and blah, 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 blah. Whatever. That's over there. I did it. I made it. But my point was to make sure people like you don't have to do what I had to do. And there it is. Yet now when they try to say we don't have a disorder, don't talk for me. We don't have a disorder. That literally takes it out of the medical space, which literally puts it into what? Elective surgery, which means you're choosing. You didn't choose to do that. You had to do that.
Amen.
It's unbelievable. They don't see that. You know, so I'd like to talk a little bit about growing up.
Yeah.
And tell me a little bit about, so you grew up very conservative in North Dakota? Is that where you grew up, North Dakota?
No, in the Minneapolis area.
Minneapolis.
In Minnesota, yeah.
Okay, yeah. Tell us.
So I'm an only child, and I grew up very privileged, but I had no idea. Because I just figured everyone in the neighborhood lived in those nice houses. I had no idea. I didn't know what a small town was.
Yeah.
I didn't know any different. And I grew up obviously knowing that I was different. I didn't know what the term trans was, obviously, but I knew that I wasn't comfortable being with people. Like, I would make friends with all the girls all the time. All my friends were girls. I could not relate to the boys at all. When I tried, it was just really awkward. And then eventually it evolved into my friends that were boys were the nerdy ones, or the theater ones when I got into high school, which, no problem. But I couldn't make friends with like the macho masculine dudes. Like, I couldn't do it. It didn't make sense. I didn't understand them. And I would always, my cousin was like my sister at the time. We would play dress up and we would go outside and play house and all these things, like, for sure. I loved that. And a lot of my memories are with my cousin doing that. And I love those to this day. But yeah, I knew something was different. Again, I didn't have a title, but I remember specifically the amount of times I would get on my knees and pray to God. Two things. Either one, I want to wake up tomorrow as a girl, or two, take this feeling away, because I hate living with it. Like, I don't even know how to describe it. And I didn't even know how to describe it in my prayer. I just said, take it away. Take it away from me, because this is not fun. Like, this is, And Buck, this is one of the things I tell a lot of people is I didn't know what living was until I started transitioning. I was just going through checking the boxes. Graduated high school, went to prom, graduated high school, these are important things. Graduated high school, went into college, got my degree, was technically like getting married, just checking boxes. And I was like, man, this is all there is, huh? This is it. And when I started transitioning, everything opened up and, started living rather than just existing.
And I see that in your energy, your spirit, everything. I see it. I just see you so like me. I feel like you're the me. And these are what I want people to see. People like me and you who struggled, figured it out, got together, and now we're back in the world again. That's literally the definition of a transsexual person. Yeah. And you're not pushing against anybody. You don't expect anything from anybody. I want to ask you about that feeling that you had when you were a kid. I know you can't define it, right? Because I think I had the feeling too, right? I was exactly like you. I only played with boys. I only played with boy toys. But I'm of a different generation. But at the same time, even though we still have that commonality. That's
exactly.
right.
Yeah,
that's right. How were the other? Because you were a little boy, right? So how were the other boys? I guess. Did they call you names or?
No. See, that is one thing I will always kind of not understand, and I have the most respect for people because I was never bullied. I rode that ambiguous, like, didn't really hang out with the boys but hung out with the girls, so I guess I could have been seen as gay by the boys. I don't know. But I was in a private school, so not allowed.
But that could also be a reason because private schools have a different way of being than public schools. They just it's a different caliber of people. And I don't mean better or worse. I just think it's a different way. It feels to me like there's less bullying in private. I could be wrong. My kid goes to a private school. I don't see the bullying there that I see at the public school system. Okay. So I do. So, but it's kind of interesting that you didn't really get bullied, which is so awesome. Yeah. And really,
it is. But there's so many of my girlfriends that were, and I have I'm not going to speak for them because it's not my experience, but I can't imagine how horrible. And I all I have is empathy for it and sympathy. Like I can't be like, oh yeah, I know what you mean, because I don't. And I'm not going to sit here and act like I don't. Or I do.
Of course not. Of course not. But so people thought you were gay because you hung out with girls.
I'm assuming. No one, that was never like
never said.
Rumor that I knew, that I found out.
Did you ever date any girls?
No.
So you never dated? No, that's it. I didn't date boys, right? So, I didn't have any of that attraction.
I didn't get it. I was supposed to. I was told that I needed to have a girlfriend, so I tried. But every girl that I tried was like, "You're such a great brother. You're such a great friend zone." And I'm like, not again. And I'm now thinking back, I'm like, duh. They probably like sensed it.
They did. They totally did. Because that's why so many girls love to be around gay men, because they don't feel threatened. I think there's not this insane masculinity and sexual tension constantly. You know what I mean? That's why I think girls do like gay men a lot of they don't feel that like sort of like we're gonna have to have sex sometime or something.
But I wasn't, like I said, and that's one thing that I feel kind of different from the trans narrative. Like so many of my girlfriends like grew up as gay boys and lived as gay men, and I never did any of that to my knowledge or claim that. Like I mentioned, I was very conservative. I grew up very conservative. My parents were, and so I was. And I just regurgitated everything my parents' pastor said and everything my parents, because this is what you do. But because I was struggling with this gender identity, and because I saw like people that were LGBT at the time, like I hated them because I was supposed to. And at the same time, I hated what I was dealing with and how it might be akin to them. And so I was mad and I was angry and I was frustrated. And I was like, how come you get to live like that? No, I can't. Like, so I was the worst. And I will sit here and I will honestly say I was the worst. And I'm ashamed of it, obviously, but it is my lived experience. I'm not going to, wash it and say, yeah, I was perfect. No. I was the worst. I didn't, like, beat up anyone, but I was very anti everything LGBT. Everything. And you can ask my friends in high school because they were very liberal and they would give me crap all the time. All the time. They're like, when something was, like, gay marriage was being legalized in Minnesota, I voted against it. Like, in the school, I voted. It's not going to matter. But I voted against it. And they'd be like, yeah, so you're excited for gay marriage, right? And I'm like, no. I was so mad and such an angry person. And I see a lot of that in the what's called the trans community today now. And I'm like,
that's right. So that's
what are you hiding?
Right. That's my next question right there. What do you hide when you're so angry, right? Right. That pushback to something that shouldn't have any effect on you, but why are you so angry about it, right? So we know that a lot of people who have like internal, I even hate using this term now because they've just destroyed it, internalized homophobia or whatever, but there is some self-hate that can come from, so you were just intuitive, knew something was connected to this community that you had. You didn't realize it was trans, but
I was worried. I was worried that was what it was because I wanted to be a girl. I just wanted to wake up that way. And I didn't know how to like start transitioning at that time based on like where I was and everything. It just would have felt awkward and scary to the point where I would never, and so many of my girlfriends did that. And that's why I have so much respect for everybody that did that and got bullied and went through all that because like, I could have never, like, I don't understand the amount of courage that takes and bravery to do that in that time in their life back, not back when, but I guess back when, I can't imagine. Like I couldn't do it.
But I like that you're not. So, cause it is the narrative in our community. A lot of us got bullied as kids. You're the first person, I think, one of the first that I've really ever spoken to that didn't get bullied as a kid. So I think it's cool that you have this experience. I never want to see somebody get bullied. It doesn't make you any less of, or that
not like a rite of passage, but
that it's not. That's a great point right there. It's not. And I hope to gosh, we can change that eventually. That just because you're a different boy at the time or a different girl, that doesn't make you like a bad person. And you grew up in conservative, upper class space, which to me says a lot against this narrative that conservative people hate trans people, or right, leaning people hate. But that's actually not. My parents are on the right and all of the things that our community dislikes, but I grew up around that as well. And but I was bullied and all that, but anyways, it's not about me. So that so wow. So did you ever during this time, did you ever have any substance abuse problems or any self-harm problems or anything like to that? None.
Again, I say I'm very blessed in my whole journey of everything is because no matter how much I wasn't happy with myself, I just thought that's what life was. And so I just took it and just tried to live, tried to go through it. Very blessed to say that I never had any of those tendencies.
Great.
And I know that kind of sounds like, I don't know, ignorant.
No, it sounds amazing. So you must have been going, it's more mental for you, I think. It was the struggle that you were dealing with that you didn't really have a way to put a finger on it. But you just said, I'm just going to have to deal with it and I'm going to push through whatever that meant, right? Because
it was mental, but I escaped into playing video games and occupying my mind. That's really
that's
all
what
I
I
did.
wanted to know. Right. So eventually, so you graduate high school, and did you now go into university or did you
right out.
2000, right out of high school?
2013 is when I started. 2012 is when I graduated. 2013 is when I started a university.
Fantastic. And so then you got out. So then in the earlier beginning of this whole conversation, I did catch that you said you were married.
Kind of. basically married, engaged for a year.
Right on.
Like, yeah.
No, but you had a partner, a female partner.
I did.
Great. So can we talk a little bit about that, or is
Sure.
it just too private?
No, it's fine.
Great. So tell me how old you were that you got together with this. Well, you don't need to tell me age. I don't care about that. I don't care. So you get together with this. I really don't. So that being said, you get together with this woman that you meet, and you guys connect, right? And how long together? How long were you together?
We were together for almost 5 years.
That's a long time.
Yeah, I know. And again, I was like checking those boxes because it's what I was supposed to do.
I see.
But I will say, all these other girls that I had dated before, I never had a sexual attraction to. I didn't get that. That made no sense to me. They'd want to get into a relation or like a situation that was like more intimate, and I'm like, no.
Interesting.
But then to me, Buck, I was like, wait, this is because once I get married, it will feel right. Once I get married,
Christianity?
It will feel right. Yeah.
That's your Christian upbringing, for sure.
Yeah.
Right.
And once I had this person who was the person for me, and I imagined our wedding night, and I imagined having to be sex-based because we were waiting till marriage. That was our thing.
Okay.
But it was easier for me. I was like, sure.
To just not do it. Yeah. You're like, I'm not interested. But no, really,
Right?
we're waiting. We're waiting.
Right? We're waiting.
In your mind, though, you're like, what's going to happen when the day comes?
Exactly, but like literally, I was like imagining the wedding night, and I'm like, I think I'd have to get completely blackout, like wasted, to experience it. And I'm like, oh, that's not okay. Yeah. No way. It should be something I should be celebrating and be happy about, not something I got to get through. Like. Yeah. But then that's interesting because that's what I've done my whole life is just get through it. But then like that final box of getting married and having a kid and stuff like that, I was like, oh wait, I can't do this.
Wow.
Yeah.
So it gets to that point. So I want to know, like, does your partner feel something weird? Eventually, years together, does your partner start to question you?
Maybe. I'm not sure. Our relationship was like 110% predicated on emotion. Like, I lived to make her happy, and I love seeing her happy, and it wasn't really reciprocated ever, but I was blindsided by making her happy, I guess. And she's not a terrible person. She was
sure.
She still is a great person. But I couldn't be the man that she wanted. So I'm assuming she felt like she wasn't attractive or whatever because I didn't want to do anything. So a lot of people tried to turn that against me when I came out too. They're like, how could you do that to her? You were dating for how long? And, like, because it's my fault. Because I understood who I was, and I was just making everyone, like, being, what's the word? Trying to goad everyone on, or like lead them on.
That's right, using her for whatever. Yeah.
And I was like, I didn't even understand it. I went to therapy, and so this is the thing, though. I went to therapy for 8 months prior to getting the diagnosis from the DSM-5.
Okay.
So I know that's not, like, that long, but it's
is,
longer than the majority nowadays.
I was going to say it's longer than 15 minutes.
Yeah, that's what that one thing when Blair said she, like, went in and then came out with, I'm like, no, that did not happen here. Not at all.
Thank God. That's why you are so grounded.
Yeah.
So did you start going to therapy?
I went on a diatribe there.
No, it's okay. No, it's all good stuff. So did you start going to therapy while you were with her? You started thinking you needed to go to therapy to figure out what's going on with you.
Yeah, because I came to that realization. I was like, wait a minute, like I can't actually do this, and I was like, I need to talk to a not a gender affirming therapist, but a therapist who specializes in working with LGBT people, just in case. And Buck, when I tell you, I made that appointment and I was terrified to go there and say what I needed to go. So I said, I'm going for anxiety. I have anxiety.
Okay.
I have bad depression and anxiety. Like, obviously, it's nothing to joke about, but like, that was the guys.
Yeah.
And I sat in that office. She goes, so you have anxiety, depression, like, you know, tell me, because I didn't say anything else. I just said, I have anxiety, depression. Like, she's like, tell me about that. And I'm like, I didn't know what to say. And she asked me one question in that first meeting. She's like, do you ever feel like you need to, like, jump out of your skin? Is that what kind of it? And I just broke. I broke down into tears. And I was like, I think I may be transgender. And, like, I'd never said those words out loud. And when I said it out loud, it was a mixture of terrifying and a weight off my shoulders. Like, I went home to her at the time feeling relieved, but also, oh my God, what did I just do?
Sure.
Yeah.
It's very emotional.
Mm-hmm.
It is, because I feel I did kind of the same thing when I said to I feel like a man, I said, and it was the first time anyone ever validated that feeling after so many years of a therapist telling me I'm just a masculine woman. But that validation or just releasing this thing
Verbally.
you've been living with since you were a little. That's right. It's like popping the balloon. It's like poof.
Yep.
You finally got to get rid of this stuff. That's the thing that's giving you.
Yeah.
The
feelings. And the reason I said like transgender is because after a while I had identified those feelings with other people that I'd followed on social media and on YouTube for so long, like Blair and others that I've followed since they started YouTube. And
Wow.
that's what I'm saying. Like, why would I follow them otherwise? Like, why was I so invested in their lives? Because I was living through them. I was living vicariously through them, and that's how I was getting through it.
But that's why Blair is so important, because Blair doesn't wash over anything. She's direct. She says things. She's like me. We believe we exist. We exist. We believe all of it. But we see through the bullshit. We see through the lies that are coming from that won't save people like you. But because of Blair's honesty and that, she attracts people like you and who see that they can become who they need to be.
And what I hate is that just because you think differently, and that's it. The bottom line, just because you think differently, you're the devil. And I'm like, I don't get how someone in the trans community can call another person transphobic.
I know. It doesn't make sense.
What is that? What is that?
I mean, they love to say I'm self-hating, but I think that's probably more self-hating, you know?
But they can say it all they want. You know, and they don't know you.
Right.
They also don't know your intention because they're not you. And
that's right.
I don't get how people can be like, you're this, you're that, you're that. Are you me? Are you me? Do you know my heart and what I'm intending to say? No? Then shut up.
They don't care. You know, that's
know.
why I'm telling you they're being taught this stuff by adults in this scary people that are taking over this.
And TikTok.
And TikTok. It's insane. But there's also leaders of this kind of movement that have power and know how to manipulate people, because that's what's happening.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, you're right. It's been hijacked. So here you are going to therapy. That's awesome. 8 months, beautiful, amazing. But are you still married? Are you still a partnership with your partner at this time? So you guys broke up.
Yeah. She wanted she wanted to make it work. By bargaining and be like, you know, like you can do that in the house or like in the bedroom, and I'm like, no, hon, no. You don't
You can
understand.
do that in the house or the bedroom.
You're not going to reduce this to a fetish and or like anything like that. Like, this is a lifestyle that I need to adapt that I hadn't lived before. We're closing this chapter.
Great.
I need to move on. I need to be with someone who I find sexually attractive, and so do you. You deserve a man, and I will never be that man for you.
Excellent. That's beautiful. No, that's really beautiful and caring, and seeing that you
Thank
both
you. I
need to
appreciate you
just
saying
move
that,
on.
because people said
It
the
is.
opposite.
No, I'm telling you, that is a beautiful, because people have their own agenda on stuff. They're not listening to you. If people listen to you,
Right.
what you did was compassionate. You care about that person because you said, I'm not the person for you. That's actually caring about that person. And whatever, people are insane. They have such agendas. They can't sit and listen. You know, people, it's so weird. Everyone takes everything so personally now, right? They're not listening to you, and instead they're interjecting their own personal feelings into your actual story.
Yeah. And there's so much response that's like a trauma response that they're like pushing, and it's like
That's right.
it's not, you don't have, like, can't
That's
trauma
right.
when you don't have trauma. Everyone obviously that's valid.
Everyone.
Whatever. But don't
Yeah.
push it to in a situation where it doesn't need to be. Like,
Well, they need to do that. For some reason, it makes them make logical sense of what happened with you guys, or it's just ridiculous behavior.
it is.
It is. I hate
lost
it.
everyone when all my friends, because we had a big friendship group. All her friends were her friends because of me. That was the glue that kind of kept everyone together. Yeah. So it
That
sucked
sucks.
for a while, and I still live in the place, like not the place, but like the area.
Yeah, the area. Totally.
So that was awkward, but
I can't even imagine. Oh my God, awkward being like oh gosh. See, this is, people don't realize the things that we sort of take on when we choose to make this transition. It's not such an easy choice. You do lose friends, you lose family, you lose so many things, but that says to me that's how powerful the gender dysphoria is.
Exactly.
We're willing to lose everything we have to stop living a lie.
yeah. And here's the thing I really want to say about that is I love how you beautifully put that. The people that don't have accepting parents and people that don't accept them, the immediate reaction is like, screw you. You're the worst thing in the world.
Yeah.
And they do not think of them. They don't think of how it's affecting the person that isn't you. Like, when I transitioned, I realized it was going to be hard on my parents. I knew it was hard on me, but I knew it was going to be hard on them as well. And I gave them time. I gave them space. When I first came out to them, it wasn't the prettiest thing ever. I wrote them this little letter because I couldn't say it. I could not literally say it. I had to write them a letter. And I studied theology for a couple of years, so I interwove a lot of my theology that would convince them, even though I didn't have to convince them. But at that time, I had to bargain. That's how I felt. But they were loving. They were so loving and compassionate at first, and then they went to their pastor the week after, and it went the complete other way, sadly. But then that lasted for about 3 months. I felt like I didn't really have the relationship I'd ever had with my parents again. But we've worked on it. We worked through it. But that was the thing, is I told them, I get it. It's uncomfortable and stuff. For my dad, it was more, he equated being trans with what he saw on America's Got Talent with drag queens and everything on social media that was considered trans.
Of course.
And he's like, not my son. And I'm like, I get it. But then I presented to them as me, and they're like, it was easier. Because I put the effort in to be seen. So I didn't mean to be shady there, but that's
it's
one of
not.
my
It's real.
Put the effort in. If you want to be taken seriously, put the effort in. That's
Thank
all.
you, friend. Well, I mean, that's right. That's the whole point. We want to be men and women, and we want to look that way. If you're not doing that, you're doing something else. You're not doing what we do.
Right, and you can't expect other people to change just for you. You can't.
So I'm going to say that your parents seem awesome. They're happened? Awesome. And they're willing. They're real Christians, by the way. Those are true Christians.
Right.
Yes.
That's what I say too. I agree.
That's right. They are true Christians because Jesus was awesome. Jesus is the coolest person, and spreading. If you just really take a minute and stop being so weird about religion people or whatever. That's okay. I'm not a religious person, but I look at all these things because they're all messages. I'm more of a spiritual person, but those Christianity, Judaism, all those things intersect with my spirituality. And so Jesus was just one of us on some level. He just wanted to hang out with the people who were disconnected, wanted to sort of build a bridge and create compassion for people who aren't like you. That's how I see Jesus. And
I get it. I mean, it's about love. It's about loving one another, but it's not about loving one another in the way of giving up your morals and stuff. It's about literally loving the person, regardless if you agree with them or not.
That's right. That's true Christianity, and that's what you really is. So your parents went to their pastor, and of course, that person wasn't at the level that your parents are at because they're at a higher level. And I do think that that pastor.
Well, but they listened to him first.
See,
they listened to him first, and then time passed, and I talked to them, and we talked about spirituality. Because I consider myself a Christian. Like to this day.
Excellent.
Transsexual and a Christian. How is that possible?
Excellent. Beautiful. It's beautiful. No, it's beautiful. Just because you're trans, my God, trans is this. It's tiny. Your transness is your medical condition. That's what. It's like saying I'm diabetic and everything in my whole life has to do with diabetes. No, you deal with it. So that You can be a Christian and trans. You can be Jewish and trans. You can be anything in trans because trans isn't the. So it isn't the big part. It's the little part.
It is.
Right? So
why I'm just because you transition as a woman?
So it makes sense to me that you're still a Christian. It makes sense to me that you take it on, and so
it's been a journey, though.
Of course, I can only imagine
a faith journey. Oh my gosh.
Oh gosh, but we need you. No. We need people like you in the Christian space. I'm not kidding, because you help people see that Christians are trans too, and that's like a huge, huge statement. And so you started having these conversations with your parents, and then they started to kind of relax a little bit.
Started explaining it, and I started listening to them. I started listening to their concerns, and I was like, I get it. And I'm not going to sit here and invalidate your concerns, but this is where I am. This is where you are. Where can we meet? Essentially.
That's right. Beautiful.
Because I can imagine in my parents' shoes having a kid for several decades. Knowing them as that person, and then me asking them, by the way, this is my name now and these are my pronouns, switch it. It didn't happen, and I didn't expect it to happen. And what was really annoying, Buck, is how at the time when I first came out, I was like running that liberal flag of respect my pronouns, like all this stuff, because that's what I thought you do. And the more I've lived as a transsexual woman, the more I see how it's just, that's not it. That's not it at all. But I gave them time, and instead of getting mad, I said, I get it. I'm gonna give you. It's not about me. I'm not gonna give you grace. I'm just gonna not be bothered by it because you're my parents, and your intention is to love me.
Right.
And if that's your intention, then I'm not going to, anything you say is not going to be seen as, oh, my parents won't respect my pronouns. My parents won't respect my name. Like, they're going through the change as well. They are going through the change as well.
Thank you. So many people need to hear what you just said. I say it all the time to these kids. Stop being so mean to your parents. They don't understand. In order for you to have a great relationship, you got to back up exactly everything you just said. I teach it all the time to the young kids. Your parents don't hate you. They just don't understand what's happening. They don't
understand. And as a teacher, you don't, when a kid gets something wrong, I'm not over here like, wow, you suck. Like,
that's right. That's right.
They don't know what they don't know. And
that's right.
It's all an education thing. So I've been educating my parents on LGBT culture. Not the best idea. But like, I was trying to make them understand. I mean, I gave them several books, which helped. One was by a trans woman who's a Christian, which amazing book.
Wow. What's the name
called
of the
God
book?
Doesn't Make Mistakes.
Oh yeah, I think I did hear about that book. Yes.
Oh my God, because I read it because actually I don't like reading it. It's an audiobook.
Okay, great. No, I love that too.
I listened to it and I thought, oh my God, this is my story. This is me.
Great.
What? So that was a huge part of my transition. I gave them that book and they read it. And Buck, the coolest part of my dad, who's like was super awkward and uncomfortable about it. I'll never forget it. He said, okay, what if someone who is transgender, because they're using those terms, I did call them and say, by the way, don't call me transgender anymore.
You
Call me
can't.
transsexual.
That's right. Just keep it as easy as possible. Right
My
on.
mom was so
right
happy. She's like, okay, I got it. Because they're not liking it either. They're seeing it and they're like, oh my gosh, my daughter is in that community.
I know. Scary.
But anyway, he said, what if being transgender, who is to say if being transgender is not a part of the diverse creation that God created for us? Who's going to refute that? How do you refute that?
That's right.
You don't know that. It could
That's
be.
right.
Could not be.
That's right.
And when he said that, I was like, yeah. Like, wow, thank you.
Because people need to see that, you tried to live in that space. And I think what you said earlier, too, is very profound. Your parents see you happy for once in their lives. How can they ever deny that? It's the same with my parents. My parents are kind of similar to yours, kind of that way, very strict, very, pushing back on me constantly. This is weird. You can't do this. But today they're like so proud of me. I mean, I'm their son. Everything is amazing. Like, I just have such a beautiful relationship with my parents. And so the same thing. They're seeing this nonsense, on Fox News because they watch all of this conservative stuff. Yeah. But, and then I have to go to their house and be like, hold on, wait a minute. That's actually like a lie. And that's
right.
What's happening. And this is really what's happening. And,
we're playing both sides here. It's kind of exhausting.
That's right. It's exhausting.
It is so exhausting.
To say, oh my gosh. But
my parents will call me and talk about something. I'm like, no.
Yeah, no, no. But that's what they're being fed, which is like, me and you have to do this damage control.
Exactly.
But it's not going to last forever. I just need you to know that as an old tranny. This stuff has a false bottom to it. The lies, deceit. We already see it with the trans stuff being pushed back on the laws, and so it's going to go full throttle all the way to the right now. It is because we made this happen. We couldn't.
I know, and that's what I'm afraid
build
of.
Bridges. That's right.
I'm afraid of the fallout from that.
It's going to not be good, but it's not going to be good for those people. Let me just say that to you right now. People like you and I.
How is it going to affect us, though?
The only thing I think that it can, it's going to affect many people who need their medicine, like me and you. We need our medicine.
Yeah, exactly.
That might be a problem, but I have a feeling it's not, because we're already sort of on our journey. I think it's going to affect the people who want to transition, who haven't started to transition. That's the sad part. And that's the sad part.
We started this whole conversation talking with you believe there's probably a small amount of kids that actually are trans.
That's right.
And I agree.
That's right.
I'm not going to sit here and say there are no trans kids.
Of course not. Yeah, that's ridiculous. That's right. Me and you. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. I'm not going to sit here and say that. I am going to say, though, we need to not push anything on them and let them dress how they want. Let them express.
Right.
Don't push these gender roles on them.
It's incredible.
Let them develop. As someone who's worked with kids, I see it all the time. And I love that I see boys who came into my classroom with nail polish. Mm-hmm. No one said anything. Yeah. No one says anything.
That's right.
I've had kids that claim they're non-binary, and I don't. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to get into it. I'm not going to get into it. I'm like,
that's right.
Cut your hair, wear ambiguous clothes, wear pink boots. You go.
Right.
Love that for you. Again, because I'm not getting into it. But they're just being kids, and let them be kids.
That's right.
Because a lot of adults struggle with the idea of gender identity, clearly. So how are we expecting kids to have an idea? We can't.
No,
we can't expect kids to have an idea of what gender identity is. No.
but they're forcing these kids now
I
to
know.
take these weird. This is not something you need to teach a kid. They'll figure it out as they
They'll
grow.
figure it out. Yes,
We all
exactly.
did.
We
We're
all
proof
did.
of it.
And we figured it
s-
out with obvious. Well, and on your case, in a bad way, like you were bullied, and you were.
Yeah, but whatever. It's not the end of the world. It's not.
But you got tough skin from it too.
I got a lot of great things from it, and that's what I always
Yeah.
say. Of course, when you're in it, right? When you're in the
Sucks.
silo, you want to
Yeah.
get out because you're like,
Yeah.
But later on in life, you're going, wow, I'm so glad I had that experience, right?
Yep.
So I don't necessarily think suffering, and that's all relative, right? These kids are
Indeed.
suffering. They put
Yeah.
all the kids in the same box, No, they're
Yeah.
not. They're dealing with some form of trauma, or maybe some dysphoria, or maybe sexuality, maybe all kinds of things. But to pin that label of trans on a kid right away is so absurd and dangerous. And
Yeah, and we went through different things. Like I said, you experienced what you did in your time, and I had no support.
that's right.
I had
That's
no
right.
one who. I didn't have like. A lot of my girlfriends were in drag, and they had drag mothers that were trans, and like helped them. I had nothing. I literally no support. The complete opposite, and I made it through.
Yeah, you did.
Like it can happen. Again, you have to put the effort in.
Thank you. Thank you.
Sorry, I stress that all the time. Like put
So
the
do
effort
I.
in. People
That's
call me
true.
mean for that, but I'm like
It's not. It's
I
the
know.
whole point we transition. And
exactly.
nobody asks, there's no way anyone ever asks you your pronouns. Ever.
Me?
Yeah, you.
No, not unless they're a woke white woman.
Unless they know you from previous. Today, you can walk the world. No, that's what I try to keep telling people. Nobody ever asked me my pronoun. That was my ultimate goal, was
Yeah.
to not have to say I'm a biological female. Like,
Yeah.
fuck, man. What? Like, no.
Yeah.
That's why you're an
Exactly.
important voice for this community, my friend. You're young. You feel very grounded, and you feel really like you're so smart, and like so many great things that I think you can do such wonderful things for this community. And I so just appreciate. I really always just appreciate people like you, especially a trans woman, because the trans women are dominating this sort of voice of trans. I don't know if you noticed that.
Yeah. Definitely.
Yeah, they are. They're dominating it. It's a real thing. Not trans women like you, more of the transgender activist women.
Yes. Yeah. I
Can be
agree.
quite scary and have
Yeah.
an agenda attached to them. So
It is.
Yeah.
But then again, it's like if you don't think like them, you're awful. And that's what I'm not here to say. I'm not sitting here saying people that don't think like
No.
me are awful. I just
You're
don't
not.
agree with you.
that's right. That's
I
right.
literally- I don't agree with you, and I'm not going to sit here
That's
and
right.
kowtow to what you believe to make you happy. Because you're not
That's
going to do it
right.
with me.
They're not. They don't care about me and you. They
No,
hate us,
they-
actually. Yeah, they
I
think
know.
we're the problem when we're actually cleaning up the problem that they're creating. We're going to end in a little bit because most people can stay for an hour and then they lose focus.
Oh,
We're
shoot,
so
where are we at?
I'm
An
telling
hour
you, we
and
could
2
talk
minutes.
for hours. We could
We
talk for
could.
hours. There's no
We
doubt
could.
about it. I'm very connected to you. I think you're so. I already feel super connected. But before we do that, I just want to ask a couple more questions. So today, you seem so awesome, and you're working, and everything is going great for you. What about your friend base? Is it just? Do you have other trans women friends you hang out with, or where's that?
Here?
At? Yeah.
Here in Fargo? No. Here in Fargo, a lot of trans people. There's a lot of trans men, actually. There's more trans men here in Fargo than anything.
Well, that's the growing segment of this pop of trans is trans men.
Yeah.
Of young women, young girls transitioning. That just skyrocketed.
Yeah, no, it really did. And then I'd watched, you had made a story about, or a video about that, and I agree. I was like, yeah, I mean, I'm living it. We're living it here in Fargo. North Dakota, that's where they are.
Is there a university? There's a university there, isn't there?
There's North Dakota State University, Minnesota State University, and then a private college.
So I see it a lot in the university space. A lot of the young people are transitioning in schools.
Yeah, very. Yeah. I mean, before I was transitioning, when I was in college, I mean, they had a pitiful pride network at our university, which no, I wouldn't want to be associated with at the time, because there's a difference between living with pride and being prideful. And
sure,
I feel like that is
that's
a blatant thing today.
Oh my God, it's embarrassing, actually.
Right. No. So you're asking about my friend group. Sorry.
No, I told you, we're just, like, me and you are going to get a coffee and we're never going to leave.
Right? Just go, a lot of my friends, so when you did that No Jumper podcast, all those girls on the other couch are my friend. Like, I'm friends with them.
Okay, great.
Because we have a friend group online, and that's about it. A lot of my friends are trans women online.
Okay, great.
But I'm not really liked in that group. I'm usually seen as fake and pick me and all these things. Yeah.
What?
No,
no, they say that about me. No, we're pick me trans. That's right, because we have a different way of thinking.
Literally.
No, because because you're not saying what they're saying. So they get they're like, you're not one of us, right? Instead of saying, well, you have a different way of thinking, you're still trans, a different way of thinking. Instead, they're just like, they can't handle it.
Yeah, but they also don't like me because I'm religious. They're, and I understand they have religious trauma, and but I again, I'm understanding where they're coming from. I don't think it justifies how they, treat me. I don't want to say treat me.
Yeah, but don't you find that? But don't you find that on some level hypocrisy? They want everybody to accept how they are, whatever that means. But the minute somebody else has that's the part to me that's very hypocritical, because who cares that you're a Christian? And also, like I said earlier, you feel like a real Christian to me. You don't feel like one of those judgmental weirdo, like taking everything out of or looking at it the way you need to look at it. That's just so bizarre.
It is very bizarre. But yeah, so a lot of my friends are online. The ones that I do have are my coworkers at Starbucks. Some of them know I'm trans, some of them don't. And
right.
Doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter. It's a personal space.
That's the coolest part, though, is the ones that knew me post-transition.
Yeah.
That have no idea. That's cool to just be like, they never knew me before.
Yeah.
I have a very, very, very small group of close friends that knew me before. Because, I lost pretty much everybody when I did transition. So it was a sad time.
No, it happened to me too. I lost all my friends, but that's okay. It doesn't matter that people have their own weird stuff, and then, I'm just happy that you do have a support group.
Yeah, and it's funny that you use those words, because when I first did come out, I was with my ex at the time, and I was a part of this online support group of trans people, gender fluid people, cross-dressers. Love how we're all in that same category. Looking back now, I just cringe.
I know, it's actually not cool.
I know, but I didn't know any better.
Of course not.
That was my community, because what I was living before wasn't it,
Right.
And I made some good friendships out of there, and I made a lot of enemies.
Well, that says something. It just
because
says to me,
they're exactly the TikTok trends that we see.
There you
and go. It is, I've never met, you said it way earlier, and I really I'm trying to bring it back because I wanted to touch on it. There are people that I believe that are non-binary that in my life that are the sweetest, nicest people ever. They just don't want to be considered either, and they're living their lives, and they're the sweetest people. I love that. I don't want to sit here and say, I don't like non-binary people. No. I have non-binary people in my life that I love. Inversely, I've met people that are non-binary, trans, gender fluid, cross-dresser. They want all the labels.
That's right.
Because they're playing Pokemon. Got to catch them all.
Yeah.
And they are the meanest, angriest, vile, just... Oh, yes. I'm like, why are you so full of hate? Yeah. Literally. Oh my God. Like, yeah. And then and they get mad at me. And they call me transphobic and all this stuff. And I'm like, I try to stand up for binary trans women. And they're like, there's no such thing as gender. There's no such thing as binary. I'm like,
okay. Look at me. Yeah. What?
So then you're invalidating me, but it's okay.
That's right.
But it's okay.
You see that? That's my point right there.
Exactly.
You know, people would have more respect for them if they stopped trying to make everyone just sort of lockstep and march with them. But the minute you have a different way, that's what I'm telling you. It's not going to last. It's built on a false foundation. You know, their foundation isn't solid. They don't even know. They don't even know who they are. They don't know who they are. And that's why they pick all these different pronouns, these identities, these things. If you look at all the TikTok, people's bios are insane. I'm thinking, how can you be all of these things all at once? Then it's mental illness. I do think on some level it is.
We joke about it, but it's true.
It is. It is.
How can you be all of those things?
No. You can't.
And then
you can't.
I thought they, them was the antithesis of
that's right.
He, him, or she, her. So how are you both? It's so narcissistic. It is. They wanted, because it's about them, and it.
That's right.
Why is that popular though?
But how can you be a he, they, or a she, they? That's right. They want everything. That's
right. Right.
That's the part that's so frustrating. But then me and you want to just be, in the binary.
I got called a they, them once, and I went.
Right. Exactly.
Really? I spent how much?
You just got misgendered, my friend. So
I did.
Yeah. I
did, but not, he, him, but I got they, that.
No, you got misgendered by they. They assumed you were they. But if you assume they're a he, she, they'll lose it. They go into, crying fits. That's why we're not giving the young people positive tools to move forward as adults. We're giving these kids such a victim mentality that woe is me and the world hates me and everyone hates trans people and blah 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 blah. I'm like, I've been doing this for 30 years. Nobody hates us. They hate idiots. They don't hate trans people. They hate stupid idiot people who make stuff up and try to force everybody else to go along with it. It is a form of no, it's a form of a cult on some level. It's culty weird behavior.
Yep.
Yeah.
I could see that. I was, like I said, I was in that group, and I left that group, and then I came back to that group just to see, y'all okay? And then I got kicked out of that group when I tried to stand up for binary trans women. So it just
doesn't matter.
Yeah. So
it doesn't matter.
I don't have a lot of friends, which is sad, but the ones that I do have mean the world to me, and they know me. The people that love to talk about me in bad ways, they don't know me. They know what I post online, and that's about it. And that's not all of me. You're getting all of me right now.
That's right. And that's the thing is people just assume because you have a Instagram or a YouTube that's actually you. It's all an illusion.
Yeah.
Can I ask you to leave here with something maybe that you'd want to say to people out there who maybe don't necessarily understand trans people now and maybe starting to dislike trans people? Would you say something? Yeah.
I would probably say we're not all the same. We have some commonalities, but we're not all the same. We don't all think the same. We obviously don't all present the same. And I would say give us the time to get to know us. Get to know us before you judge us, really. Because I get why people judge us, especially nowadays. I understand why people judge us. I get it.
Yeah, of course.
But literally just get to know, give us the time. I guess go into it with an open mind in a almost a critical way, just to kind of see. Because if someone critiques me, I mean, that's okay. That's how I grow. That's how I develop. I'm not going to sit here and be like, oh, you didn't, like,
right.
no.
Right.
They can have their opinion. That's fine.
Right.
I don't know what the intention is. Well, I'm not going to assume it's negative intent right away.
That's right.
So,
Beautiful.
sorry, I didn't really know how to like.
No, you didn't. Well, I could tell you're a teacher too. So I hope you're going to go back to teaching. Are you going to go back to teaching?
I don't know.
Maybe not.
It's
what a
so
shame.
hard. It's so. I know. I love kids.
You seem like you would be such an amazing teacher. I just feel it from you. It's a gift. Finding a good teacher is a gift, and also being a teacher, I think and I'm a coach, which is on some level a teacher, but I just think it's such a, I get it. It's a really amazing space to be in, to really be able to teach kids stuff.
It is to be able to be that person in that child's life when you don't know their home life. You don't know if they go home to a mom and dad, if they go home to a grandparent or an aunt, uncle, if they don't even go to a home, if they go to a shelter. Like you never know that, because they come in as a class, and your job is to teach them and love them. And I was a music teacher, so I got to do something I love, which my passion is music, and I got to share that with them and inspire that, but then also teach them life lessons interwoven into music. To be able to be that person is such a gift. Like you were saying, it was great, and I loved the kids, and I missed them dearly, for sure.
Breaks my heart.
And as a trans woman who probably won't have her own kids, that's the closest thing I could have, and I had 400 of them. Old woman in the shoe.
Well, that's the thing. Is like I just kids also remember those special teachers, right? I remember a couple of my teachers that were just profound.
I won't be forgotten. Believe me.
You will not be forgotten. No, but eventually, maybe you'll be able to get back into that space. I hope so. I really do hope so. I think it would be so great and such a gift to these kids to have somebody like you in that space. I do. Music is an important part of I think kids learning things, or some kind of language, or something that gives them a substance on some level. Yeah, no, it does. There's a lot of, obviously being a teacher here, there's a lot of metacognitive things that like go on that you don't even realize that we teach. That you can't really measure it in a a grade way. Like it's just a lot of things in here that you learn, like with rhythm and syncopation and stuff like that. Like that weirdly are in everyday life, but nobody ever talks about it. And are they important? They don't. But instead, we got to throw gender at these kids, right? And like, you're trans. You definitely are trans because you're wearing pants and you're a girl. Right. Before we go, I just remember this thing when I was, we fought to get rid of gender stereotypes. We really fought to get rid of this idea that women can't be masculine and men can't be feminine. We really made a huge effort, and we did it. We actually did it. And this whole new trans kid movement is actually destroying everything we dismantled, which, we dismantled gender stereotypes, which is huge on so many levels. Women have been able to really move up the ladder and be successful in male jobs, right? And so many things. That's just what I see from this transgendering children space. Transtrender. It's so true. It's horrible. And that was one of the things the pastor said when I first came out to my parents is, oh, this is a trend. He's just trying to fit in. Yeah, sure. That's what that's the problem. So now everyone's going to think all of us are on a trend, and I'm like, well, I've been on a 30-year trend then. I'm like,
Why aren't we listening to the people that have been in this space?
Because I'm not part of the narrative, right? I disagree with.
But there's more. There's there's tons of elder. What do you say? Elder tranny?
Yeah, I'm an elder. I'm an actual
tranny?
elder. Yeah, I'm an elder tranny. I am.
Yeah,
Totally.
Literal icons, because we're here because of what you guys fought through. And
well, me too, and the people that were before me, and that we've always respected our We've always, every culture has always. This is the only
not now
place. Not now. The ageism is insane. Oh, you're old. Shut up. You don't know anything. You're losing your mind. I'm like, I'm 60. I'm not 80. Like, come on. Give me a break.
You've experienced this world way more than they could even fathom. They're like, yeah, we have the internet. Okay.
That's right.
So you know how to Google something.
That's right. It's a shame. But, I think these interviews that we're doing and talking and sort of showing people that we actually are here and we disagree with this fake narrative going on that will destroy us all. That's why I really appreciate your time, my friend, and, being able to sort of platform you to another group of people that will see you. Yeah. Do you have anything you have isn't that where I met you, Instagram?
Yep, Instagram. Yeah, I messaged you after watching that podcast, and I was like, oh my god,
excellent.
I need to say
That's
thank
right.
you.
And you're awesome.
Get to know you.
No, it's so cool. I just love that you connected with me. So I'm going to put all your socials in the box below, and so people can reach. Is that okay? So people can reach out to you. Mm-hmm. Excellent. That's fine. Excellent, friend. So thanks everybody for watching. I hope that you really enjoyed my time here with Tori. She's an amazing, beautiful human. And so remember, like, subscribe, do all that stuff, please. And it really does help. It does help. I can see people are starting to see everything we're doing here. So thanks, Tori. You're a beautiful human being.
Thank you.
I'll talk to you soon.